Hi everyone, Jessica here from Paper Ink Stamp and welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're going to be creating another page in our journal, and this time we are using this month's creative stamping, and this is the Summer Escapes stamp set. So let's get into our journal so we can see the 2 pages that we have already created. So this was our die cut and essentials, and we've got our Simply Cards and Paper Craft here. So we're going to use this next side. Let's just pop a little book in there just to help sort of stabilize it. So because we had the texture from our texture paste on here, and then the glue and things from the leaves, it is sort of a little bit crackly and things on this side. That doesn't matter, it really depends on what it is that you're going to be creating on your next page. But what I thought would be really kind of cool, hopefully, is I wanted to do some sort of paper piecing to create our scene today. So rather than colouring or painting, whatever it is that we're going to do usually to colour in our images, and instead of using then coloured card, so that's what we did for our previous cards with our flowers, we just stamped that onto some coloured cardstock. I'm actually going to be using a whole bunch of different patterned papers to stamp our images, and then we're going to cut them out, and I'm hoping to build a really kind of fun, different kind of scene. So yeah, hopefully it's going to look really great. I'm thinking in my head it's going to be almost like a little bit patchworky, and I'm hoping that it's going to turn out really great. So what I was thinking would be cool is maybe to have our lady in here who is reading. I did really want to have, I was thinking the bench would be quite cool, but then I was thinking, did I want to have maybe a little bit of water? So there's 2 ways that we can do this. So we could either do the bench and maybe have some trees in the background. I think that would look really cool because we could stamp our trees onto some different card. We could create a sky in the background, and then we can kind of have them there, maybe even create like a little picnic blanket that she can be sat on. Or we could use our sort of bridge or sort of lake sort of bridge there. Again, we could use our lady, and we could do then some water in there as well. But I am thinking that I really want to get that tree in, so I think I might go with that first sort of design. So as I said, I know I want to do maybe 2 trees, so I need to have 2 different papers for that. So I want it to be all completely different. So we'll have our tree. As I said, I think we'll have our lady here, and like I said, maybe we can create then a little blanket for her to be sat on. And like I said, I want to then get our bench in there as well. So I'm going to go with these 3 images just for the moment. So I can pop these to one side because now I need to have a look at the patterned paper that I've got. So this is a really great way to actually use up some of your patterned paper, and just to, you know, if you've got any scraps, you know, if you sort of collect pattern paper but you don't really use it a lot, this is going to be a really great way to use it. So apart from sort of the normal pads that I've got, I have got in here sort of different papers. I'm thinking this might be really nice actually for the bench, because it is sort of brown. It's going to give us that woody kind of feel, but I brought out some of the papers that have been included in previous magazine issues. I've got papers that I downloaded from the Simply Cards and Paper Craft website. Okay, so we've got a range of different papers here. So it's actually a lot more low-key sort of colour-wise than what I initially thought I was going to go for. But I do actually really like the colour palette here. So let's get started actually stamping some of our images. So I'm going to take a piece of this. So I thought this would look really great for our bench. So let's grab an acrylic block for our stamp. Gonna ink this up with some Versamark Onyx Black ink. And let's stamp that. So I'm going to let this just sit and dry for a second before I cut them out. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stamp and I'm going to just trim down then my images just like that, and I can pop it to one side. So that's our bench. So let's go in with our tree. So I've got 2 papers here again, so these are quite different to each other, but like I said, I didn't want to have them exactly the same. And what I'm actually going to do is just ink up to the trunk, because I want to do this trunk in a different colour. So let's just, so I want to get a little bit of pattern in here as well. So I'm just going to stamp that in that corner, and then we can cut this out. Let's just stamp that. Okay, so we've got our 2 tree tops, and what I'm going to do is on the reverse of our green paper, we've got this purple paper here, and I thought this would be really interesting just as a bringing in a different colour, and this would be really great for our trunk. So I'm just going to ink up the trunk. Let's just stamp that, and again I'm going to have 2 of these. So again, because that bit's quite dark, you're not necessarily going to see a lot of that purple, but that's okay. We've got a lot of design on the stamp itself, and it's just to sort of give it a little hint. Okay, so we've got our trees and we've got our trunks. So the next thing that I want to do, so I'm just going to leave our lady for the moment. And what I do want to do is create maybe a rug or like a blanket or something for her to be sat on. Okay, so I think I'm going to use maybe one of these. This is a linen textured paper, and I'm thinking about just going maybe with a either classic gingham or kind of like this strawberry actually. So I think it's just going to be something like that. Okay, so then we've got our rug as well. So let me just bring these down so you can see. So we've got our trees with our trunks, we've got our rug, and we've got our bench. So again, I just want to leave those just to one side. And then I want to create a grassy area with then the sky as well. So for the grass, I've picked up this kind of dark green, but it's got a butterfly pattern on here. Let's just measure. So this is sort of just under 12.5 centimetres. So I'm going to cut my card down. Our grassy area, so I'm just going to leave a gap to the side. I'm not going to have it all the way to the side. So we've got our grassy area there. So I'm going to take a small corner punch, and hopefully that might just be enough there just around the corner. So we're going to do that for the grass. And then what I really thought about doing actually was just kind of layering these background pieces. So where we would normally have some clouds, I was thinking that maybe it might be kind of cool. Maybe to have just some layers. Okay, so we've got a couple of clouds here. So then these can kind of just sit on top of each other. I thought just kind of like that. So let's bring our grass back. So what we could do then is literally just have the remainder sort of coming out the top like that. So to add a little bit of grass texture, I'm just going to use, this is just a really bog standard sort of a grass edge. So I'm going to use just a little bit of tape. I will need to run this through twice because it's not quite long enough, but this is just going to give it that grassy top. Okay, so there we have our little grassy edge. Okay, so let's actually get sticking this down just to create our full background. So I'm going to start off with my top piece of sky. So I'm just going to trim this down. Again, I'm just going to round that corner just a little bit. So I'm going to grab my tape runner. So I'm just going to turn my book around. I'm going to match it up with the top and the side, so I'm not worried if there's going to be a gap there. So there we have sort of just a fun, different kind of background. So now we've got our scene set, let's just move that to one side and bring back in our other images. So these ones now we just need to cut out. So I'm really simply gonna just cut around. So this was gonna be our blanket. And I've cut this at an angle as well, not just a square, because obviously we want it to kind of have that correct perspective. Blanket there that she's going to sit on. So now for our trees. Okay, so we've just cut these out. So if I pop it onto this page, just so you can kind of see it. So we have got our two trees, and you see you've just got that really sort of beautiful pattern on there. And then we've got our really lovely contrasting purple trunks. And then we do have our bench as well. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach our trunks onto our trees. So we've just added the adhesive just to the back, And we're then really simply just gonna line that up. Just like so. And then we can do the same for this one. And it doesn't even have to be perfect either, because you're not really gonna be able to tell. Okay, so what I've done for our lady, she's reading a book here. So we've got a few bits on here that we can then paper piece also. So I've picked up a piece of, this is kind of the plainer paper that I'd downloaded from the website. So it's one of the downloaded papers. So I'm not sure really how much you can see on camera. This is a very light gridded kind of paper. It's got some really subtle dots in the background, and it's a bit of an off-white colour, and thought that would be kind of perfect then for her skin tones. Then we've got this green gingham paper for her hat. We've got some purple shoes. We're going to do this yellow book. And then I've stamped her body to get a really nice floral dress. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out these and we're going to build it onto our piece here. So what I'm going to do first of all is cut this out. I'm going to cut our individual pieces out and then we can pop them together. So we've got our cutout elements here and we have our lady. So I've zoomed in so you can see really how this is going to come together. I'm going to use my dotty tape pen this time, just for ease. And basically all we're going to do is just layer up. Let's grab my pokey tool so we can get this lined up perfectly. So we have got the hat. Let's grab our book, and what you can see hopefully is I've cut around where her thumb is going to be, because what we want is for all of the bits sort of her to kind of stay white, and you can see that I've done the same thing here for the dress. So I've cut what is her arm from it, and again that is just going to give this paper piece in, it's going to make it a lot better, because again we've already picked our patterned paper for her body and her sort of skin, and we don't want it to be this flowery pattern. So again we're just going to get that nice and lined up. So you can see really easily how this works. So the last bit we've got to do is just to pop her shoes on. So again, we're just going to line those up. So she does look a little bit pasty, but I'm okay with that. Maybe the sun hasn't started shining yet. So hopefully if I hold this up to the camera, you can see our paper piece in there, and I just think that comes together really great. It's really not difficult to do at all, and I think it can just give a completely different look to your images, rather than just always say colouring with alcohol markers, watercolouring, whatever it might be. This is a really easy way of doing something a little bit different. So let's add some adhesive and actually get these pieces stuck down. So we're going to start off with our first tree just there. We're going to add this tree higher up. So for our bench, I'm going to use my dotty tape pen. Just because we have those open areas. So let's pop our bench sort of further over there. Let's just bring it down a touch. Perfect. Let's add our blanket. Just there like that. Then let's add our reading lady. Just like so. Let's just trim our tree off. So I really love how that's looking. It's just like that patchwork sort of effect, like if you had it with all the different fabrics and things. And I think that looks really, really brilliant. So the last thing I think I want to do is maybe just to add one of the sentiments. So there's some really great sentiments on here. So we've got remember when. So the card that we created, we do not remember days, we remember memories. So we've got memories are meant to be made, not forgotten. We could do enjoy your day. I think enjoy your day might just fit a little bit more. I was hoping to use this memories are meant to be made, not forgotten. But I think enjoy your day might just be a little better. So let's just grab our acrylic block. And I'm wondering whether to just, I think I'm just gonna stamp that directly up there. And I'm just gonna really basically use some black ink. So let's bring this down a bit. So we've got enjoy your day. And that is going to be our page finished for today. And this was using then that Summer Escapes stamp set from the Creative Stamping magazine. And again, I really love how this has turned out. It just reminds me of something from school, from primary school. Again, that patchwork, just adding everything together. And I think it's nice just to break up the sky a little bit. The patterns work really nicely together. You've got that really kind of basic grass. But again, we're just with all those patterns, it works perfectly, I think, with the trees and kind of paper piecing her together. You know, just looking at it, you wouldn't really see that it was different kinds. You would just assume that you know, coloured those ends. You can't see a lot of the designs, but I think what you can see, I think really just helps kind of bring it to life and just give it a little bit more of a storybook kind of feel. And I'm really happy with how this has turned out. So each of our pages, of course, are going to be completely different in here because each free gift is completely different. It's got its own kind of vibe going on, and it's nice just to kind of experiment. So if you want to try something different that isn't just, like I said before, colouring, painting, ink blending, whatever it might be, if you've got pattern papers to use, this is going to be a perfect way to stretch your free gifts. So that's going to be it for this video. That is our third journal page, and I'm just super pleased with how this has turned out. If you do like it and you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so you don't miss out on any future videos. So thanks very much for watching and happy crafting.